Hey everybody, welcome to the latest live stream called Coding in the Kitchen with ChatGPT. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really excited about today's episode. This is now the fourth we've done.
Is this the fourth or the fifth? I'm starting to lose track.
Yeah, me too. And I guess since we've started this, I mean, AI is absolutely everywhere, isn't it?
There's nowhere it isn't, it seems.
And like we've looked at so much already. We've looked at creating images with AI, creating text, generating text with AI. What the heck else have we done?
Oh, well, we improved pictures using
Oh yeah,
AI,
yeah,
right? We enhanced them, we enlarged them, we created faces out of murky, pixelated noise in the shadows.
yeah. We showed people how to prototype and do a design mockup, an entire web page mockup using.
Yeah, it's true.
So, what is this coding in the kitchen thing we're doing today? What it's all that about? Do you think?
Well, it's probably about the kitchen. It's probably about cooking. I know. So we're joined by Justin, who's not in his kitchen, but he's near his kitchen,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure that what we're going to be talking about today and showing people who are watching is how to use ChatGPT to write code. And specifically, when we say write code, I think we're talking about HTML, CSS, and maybe a smidgen, just a dash, maybe a tablespoon or less of JavaScript, but I could be wrong. I think that there's, I mean, a lot of people think that ChatGPT can do absolutely everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm quite sure that they believe that.
I was under the impression, given all the publicity I've been seeing, and we should mention that Justin here is a coder or designer. He's worked with us for many. He's HTML, CSS guru. None of us are really scripters or programmers. We're going to be getting into some interesting waters here today, where we're going to be asking ChatGPT to make some interactive elements to this web page. How do you feel about this, Justin? I mean, we know that you're being threatened already, as am I, by ChatGPT. But this is now it's actually lapping you if it can get this interactivity right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it can give us, and we can see how well it really cooks.
Okay. Well, I guess without further ado, we should just kind of dive into it and explain exactly what we have to do. We should also mention that in addition to none of us actually being developers or programmers, we are also not cooks. But although I guess I cook a little bit, and Justin does too. But Andrew just
I don't cook.
yeah, he doesn't he doesn't believe in it. Uh, and so we're going to ask ChatGPT, and in particular, we're going to be using ChatGPT 4, which is kind of the upgraded version, so the most up-to-date modern version, or I should say, I don't know, what would we call this? Like most
Uh,
advanced version?
yeah, the most advanced version of this that OpenAI provides. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. So just as a kind of reminder, again, this is ChatGPT 4, as you can see in the top left-hand corner. Um, ChatGPT 3.5 is the one that everyone can use without having to pay. I think have they changed that or no? Do we remember?
No, you still have to pay to get access to GPT-4.
Okay.
The non-4 version 3.5 is free.
Yeah.
And you can also access ChatGPT-4 sort of through Bing's chat, which is now maybe called Copilot. It's hard to keep track of what they're calling all their things now, but
Right.
and for more context, Jeremy, in one of our first live streams about AI, we did put ChatGPT through the paces of producing HTML for us.
That's correct.
And I think it was our first experiments with having it create HTML output.
Right.
Which is kind of like what led us here. I think it's also worth mentioning like who we think that this particular live stream
Yeah.
is targeted towards, right?
Right.
Because I think and I mean, maybe that's part of the punchline, but I think this is the case where we're trying to show how useful, flexible, powerful this tool can be for producing HTML and CSS. And it's so not, we're not trying to show you a specific workflow in particular. We're really trying to tease out the strengths and gaps in with this tool.
Yeah, and in many ways, like when we started, we've run through this scenario a few times, and in many ways, at least for me, I kind of started out with this idea of like, who's this target audience? Well, in a weird way, it's me, or at least folks like me who, yeah, I have a significant amount of HTML and CSS experience. Again, very little or limited JavaScript and developer experience, but I might choose to use something like this, or at least experiment with this, if I was creating a prototype, or I had this idea in my head that I wanted to show like a real developer that I wanted without, you know, without fumbling around in the code. And so this is really kind of an open investigation into the level of accuracy and ability for ChatGPT to kind of understand the intent of what I'd like to see in the code and whether or not it can execute that. So what did here was, and you'll see me, by the way, copying and pasting from a document that we used before. We've done this a few times, and one thing that we've run into, and this is true in almost every single one of our experiments, is that the output of this lives within this realm of like predictability. So this gave us, so I said, give me a recipe that can be made in less than 10 minutes for a tasty, simple, yet innovative winter holiday themed salad that will serve for adults. Again, we've done this several times before, and we can see that for the most part, it always gives us something very similar to this. A winter holiday salad with 4 cups of mixed greens, a cup of pomegranate seeds, walnuts, feta, goat cheese, apple, etc., etc. And then it tells us the instructions, and then it gives us a little bit of a description at the end of like why ChatGPT thinks this is a winter holiday salad, because it brings a festive look and taste to our holiday table with its vibrant colors and diverse textures. The sweetness of the apples and cranberries pairs beautifully with the tangy cheese and crunch of the walnuts. Boy.
It sounds like a holiday salad to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so every time we've done this, and we've asked for this recipe probably what I feel like 100,000 times at this point, just this week.
Yeah.
That every time there's like you said, there's this realm of possibility within which it generally plays, and so I think the only difference we've seen so far is that they've added romaine lettuce to the potential mix of the 4 cups of mixed greens. But either way, it's interesting that it's generating this out of nothing, presumably every single time, and yet it's always coming back to these decisions about what to put in. Just an interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and again, you know, we don't really ask it to do anything else except for, you know, give us a winter holiday themed salad. There's not a whole lot of parameters, and I think so to map out kind of where we want to take this. So let's just assume that in our heads, or in my head, that I have this idea of like creating an interactive web page that would scale this recipe. So again, we did define that we wanted it for adults, and then it gave us the 4 cups and etc., all the ingredients. And so, but what if we wanted to actually have an interactive page that would scale up the quantity of the ingredients depending on the number of people that we're serving?
Now you're jumping to the fancy stuff, right? Because I know that when you cook, you like to find the right recipe and then make a web page out of every recipe, because that's and I know that's a fun sort of detour for you. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually have ChatGPT generate HTML and CSS to make this look
now Before we do that, and we're going off script here because this is a live stream, but Justin, I'm curious, like if you were given this task as a human designer and developer, like where might you start? Just given mapped out like what I was talking about, looking for an interactive page. What would just from like the highest level possible, what do you think you would do?
Highest level.
Yeah.
Um,
Like a sketch, or would you go into HTML right away? Like what kind of?
yeah, I'd probably be like marking this up or marking it down, right? And markdown, and then I would just convert it to HTML really quickly.
Okay.
And then, so again, like starting just with plain text, convert MD to HTML, and then kind of go from there.
Okay. Well, we're gonna say
I think you
convert.
need to tell it to convert it to HTML.
Yeah, well, we could do that. I mean, we've done that before. We've converted things to Markdown, and it does that well. So again, for those who do not know, Markdown is kind of a simplified text version of whatever you're throwing at it. In this case, a couple lists. But for now, I think we're just going to say let's skip that and just say convert this to HTML. We'll keep it real simple.
Yep.
It seems like my message got cut off.
Wow, so this is new. I think you mean convert this to HTML.
Oh, I forgot the two. Convert this to HTML. I'm going to ask it in Spanish, just maybe por favor.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's going to make a difference.
Certainly.
Okay. Justin, are you evaluating the code as it's printing to the screen? So far, so good?
Yeah, no, it looks great. I mean,
Yeah, there's nothing controversial about this yet.
no, exactly. Which is great, right? Still like the core web technology, it does it well. So like good.
So
Yeah.
what I'm going to do here, as soon as this is done generating, and we should point out that we have noticed over the last couple of weeks, we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes, but we have seen a few times, and we might run into it again in this live stream, where ChatGPT throws out a network error because there's all these tens of thousands of people crunching away and doing these sort of things. So
yeah, although sometimes it's when we call it on a problem and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, network error. And it's like, come on, you made this problem, fix it.
So what we can see here is, a couple of things are happening which are kind of interesting. So the first is, again, you can see that obviously this code is formatted. There's a very handy button that allows us to copy the code, which I'm going to throw into a text editor in a second. It also gives you a little explanation here. So it tells you and educates you about how it did it. So it tells you that it used an unordered list, so the UL tag. And the instructions are in an ordered list, or the OL tag. And it says, the page is titled Winter Holiday Salad Recipe, and it's going to display all the stuff when opened in a web browser. Well, let's see if that's true. I'm going to jump over here to Visual Studio, and I'm going to save this, and we're going to go ahead and open this up in a browser. Justin, does that look like HTML to you?
Sure does.
Yeah. So this is pretty solid. In many ways, this is kind of where one might start, as Justin kind of reinforced, if you were starting to build a page. All right, so far so good, right? We're giving this high marks.
So far the answer to the question, can ChatGPT write HTML for me? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get a little more fancy, and again, some of this we're going to make up as we go along, but we're just going to go ahead. I'll explain this new prompt that we're putting in. So we have the solid HTML structure, and now we're like, this is like going from like 15 miles an hour, maybe 25 miles an hour, to like 55. because we're going to ask it to do a whole heck of a lot right now. And, we could go in incremental steps, but why do that?
Well, yeah, we don't have that much time.
We don't have that much time.
Yeah, but so why don't you break apart this prompt?
Okay.
And I guess I would say start with, don't start with the first phrase, because that's kind of a weird twist, right? So
Yeah, you tell me what you want me to put there.
well, so I'd say that the approach is that we want to have it apply a visual style to this, and so we're asking in the second, is that the clause now, add some winter holiday themed CSS.
All right, you want me to just start that from there?
Well, I was gonna, yeah, exactly. So let's sprinkle in some holiday themed styles. No, well, and then by all means add the, we want it to be a responsive page. We don't want the text to run all the way to oblivion on the right-hand side or whatever. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
make
the
it
original one.
responsive.
Yeah. Do we want to try to add some columns in this?
Do you want to do columns? It should,
Well,
go
let's just
for
say
it.
make it responsive, but let's see what happens. And then, but also we do want
Yeah,
the
the
placeholder,
placeholder image.
because, oh yeah, by the way, Andrew, while I'm doing this,
Yeah.
how
So
about,
you tell me, what picture do you want?
yeah, so we are going to add an image here. So I'm gonna take this and behind.
Oh, well, I can, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So behind the
sweet.
scenes,
All
you're
right.
gonna take these ingredients and you're gonna
I'm going to whip up a visual interpretation
yeah.
of these ingredients for a nice food photography style image that will accompany the holiday themed style of your recipe.
So that's where the placeholder image that's what that's intended for.
Can it be a square image?
Yes, it'll be square by default.
Okay.
Um,
All right, I'm working on it.
okay, so as he's working on that, the code is getting generated. I'll try to explain again some of what's happening here. So it said, sure, I'll add some winter holiday themed CSS to the HTML, make it responsive. I'll also include a placeholder for an image below. So it's basically mirroring exactly what we asked it to do. And here's the updated HTML with the embedded CSS. Now, again, I do happen to know enough CSS to kind of understand what's happening here a little bit, although we haven't seen it yet. Justin, anything jump out at you as you're looking at this? I know this is the first time you've ever seen this code, so it's not quite fair to like.
No, I mean, it's a starting place, right? It's not,
Yeah. Yeah, we can even see here. So again, there is what's called a media query for those coders in the audience. You're probably quite familiar with this. This is a section of code that is responsive because we asked it to design, again, the exact prompt was add some winter holiday themed CSS and make it responsive. And so its solution to that and its answer was to, again, what's called creating a CSS media query using this max width attribute here. And it seemed like it really didn't do much with it, but
no.
it's okay. Let's see what.
But it did get like responsive images, right? With the max width of 100%, right? So at least it made the image itself responsive, which is usually it.
Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting to see once we actually get that image. Come on, Andrew, let's go.
I'm working on it.
ChatGPT waits for no command. So let's take a look at what this did. Okay, so I can see there's something going on here. It seems like it's missing some content. Now, there's some things I'm expecting here. So this little graphic here, that's actually the placeholder image, and I just happen to know that because that's what I would expect if there's no actual image yet. But it seems like we've lost the ingredients and the instructions. I did not seem to notice that. So what's going on there? Oh, I see. So ChatGPT decided just to put a comment here that says ingredients go here, instructions go here in that list. So it did not regenerate all of our original HTML, all of this stuff. Now, whether it thinks it's being helpful or it's just saving processing time, we don't really know. But we do know that we can tell it to put it back. So please put the ingredients and the instructions back into the code. So while it's doing that, let's also look at, let's make sure it's doing it. Yep. So in a similar way, we can see the explanation that kind of we were just talking about. So it's again explaining how it made the responsive design, the placeholder container, all that stuff that is confirming a little bit what I was talking about. So we asked it to put that stuff back. Oh, look, we got the famous network error. Awesome. Luckily, we can regenerate and just force it through, which is pretty much the only option. They don't really tell you what to do. So we've learned this, that when you get a network error, that simply means, I guess,
try again.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, I just sent you two delicious looking salads that
wow.
were made with those ingredients.
Those look real
I don't
good.
know that I really like the way that it deals with the crumbled goat cheese, but it's that's crumbled goat cheese.
I'm gonna have to choose one of these. Let me. I don't know, Justin.
There's something nice about the rustic look with that fork, you know. But actually,
I don't know, Justin. Preferences as the guest star here. You get to choose this one or this one.
There's something wrong with the fork in that one.
Yeah, go with this. With this one.
It looks like a mentalist was bending it.
One? You want this one?
Yeah, I do.
You don't want it bend. You don't bend like the Uri Geller.
You're cool with the Uri Geller fork?
I am.
Yeah. Look at that. We're calling out Uri Geller as if
yeah,
people actually remember who he is.
We'll make him relevant through AI.
So just so that the people in the audience know, Uri Geller was a famous mentalist who was exposed as a charlatan, and his main
allegedly
his main gimmick was
you mean feet?
Sorry, his main power was bending a, well, I think it was a spoon, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, so bending a spoon with his mind.
With his mind only.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go get that. We got to do two things now. We have multiple fires in the iron. We need to get the new code because, again, it put the ingredients and the instructions back just like we asked. Thank you. So we're gonna do that, and we also, I'm gonna use a little bit of my human brain to change the placeholder. And was that a PNG or
it was a JPEG.
It was. Okay. So image.jpg. So in theory, if I did all this right and ChatGPT did it right, we should now get those ingredients back, and we should have a brand new sparkling image.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Tasty.
Nothing says festive holiday salad like a festive holiday salad.
Yeah.
You know, Jeremy, if you're having me over to your place for like a festive winter holiday celebration and it's a salad, I think I'm going to be disappointed even if it's that salad. I just want you to know that I don't think this is, even if you have made enough salad to feed more than 4 adults, I don't know that it's good enough just on its own.
But it's kind of the thing that everyone makes just because.
Who's made this salad before? The holiday winter holiday salad. Have you ever made this?
No, but we were going to have our colleagues Kier and Roman make this salad
Well,
during the.
we still have time. I don't. This said, isn't this going to be like it's going to take 10 minutes to make?
Yeah. All
So
right. Well, I'll let you take care of that behind the scenes. I'm really busy, so you can you can
yeah.
ask
Well,
them.
I see that Kara's now joined, so
Eh,
she can join us from the kitchen. Maybe start chopping
Yeah.
the cranberries.
I'm
I don't
in
know.
meal prep mode.
Ooh,
Excellent.
great. Now, keep in mind, Kier, they do give you the option for feta or goat cheese. So if you're having Andrew over, goat cheese is out of the
Yeah.
To go.
Yeah. So this is looking pretty good. We again, it gave us some instructions here. It's exactly what we did. We replaced the placeholder image. We got that. Next up,
Heavy lifting. Now we're doing
heavy
the heavy
lifting.
lifting.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to again get a and Andrew, feel free to modify this like you did previously.
Oh
This is
no, go for it.
Yeah, well, let's just talk it through, and then we can figure out and we can talk about what we're doing. So, what we're going to be asking it to do is adding some JavaScript interactivity that will allow the user to change the number of people being served by selecting from a drop-down menu that includes 2 to 4 people, 4 to 8, and 8 to 12 people, and dynamically change the ingredient amounts. And then this last one, we should point out, if this sounds strange, what I'm about to read, it's because we stole this from an earlier explanation that ChatGPT gave us. And we said, well, if this is the way it thinks of this thing, then we're going to use it. And that phrase is, please make sure all code uses modern web development practices and enhances the separation of concerns in the code. So this is just going to be fascinating to see what it does. Traditionally, when you're creating production level web pages or a site or a landing page or whatever, just in general, you tend to separate your languages. So HTML is in one document, JavaScript is in the second, CSS is in the third. Having said that, you can easily put them all in one, but we're asking it to whatever it thinks separating the concerns is, we want to see what that does, as well as modern web development practices, which
Right, and we took that phrasing specifically from the way that ChatGPT had described an optimization that it had done when we said make this look like someone who knows what they were doing did it instead of
right.
everything in line like your first time ever.
Yeah. And so we can immediately see as it's generating this, again, the canny eye will show you that it's using styles.css. So it's pointing to a separate CSS document where earlier all that CSS was what we would call inline, so in the document. So that's one thing. And it's also telling us, and again, we know this just because we have some understanding about code, is that the ingredients will be populated by JavaScript. Now, that's interesting. It also again left out the instructions again. And then at the very bottom, and this is standard web practice, you would point to the JavaScript file at the very end of the document. Now, Justin. Oh God, look, sorry, Justin. Look, they just said your existing CSS styles.
Yeah. But we can say that up until now, right? It's written good HTML. It did some, basic CSS, made it responsive, so we're safe, right?
Yep.
So now, and this is starting to look good.
Yeah.
The HTML that added in, like I'm kind of curious to see how.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm still a little annoyed that it keeps leaving out the instructions because again, on one hand, you can understand why it might do that. On the other hand, we'd have to copy and paste that ourselves. That's so difficult.
You're copying and pasting already between this
Right.
and your text editor, so
Sure. True.
Yeah.
But it also left out the existing, all the styles.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask it. I'm just going to say, please.
Please do it right this time.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to say, please add the instructions back.
Yeah, or could you say like combine the previous, you know?
Maybe.
I'll
I mean,
let
we can
you.
try it. Let's try it.
I don't know, guys.
I don't know. This
Yeah,
sounds
no,
dangerous. We're going off the rails, but you know what? That's okay. How would you think of? How would you say it, Justin? Combine. No, you know what? That's.
I wouldn't
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
It feels very dangerous. All right, we're just gonna say add the instructions back to the HTML.
And put the styles in the CSS file, please.
Put all the styles back into the CSS file.
I just want to point out that all this typing that you've done and copying and pasting, I could have gone to Stack Overflow and been a developer myself, or I could have written this in Markdown and had GitHub do the conversion to a web page. I just, but I know it's for the demonstration, but this isn't saving me any time.
And I like that we're using this tool and we're like, copying and pasting is almost like a chore, right? You're like,
yeah,
it's such a drag to have to copy and paste between two documents.
I mean, the truth is, what we're about to this stuff here, this JavaScript is really what we're interested in, because I want to see this work. I want to, I wouldn't have. I don't know how to read this really. Like I could struggle through it and probably figure it out, but in the meantime, I'm adding a little bit of shade at the end here. I said add the instructions back to the HTML and put all the styles back into the CSS file. I don't understand why you took them out. Jeez.
Sorry, Overlord.
Yeah.
Apology. See, that's all I wanted.
Friendly.
Just wanted a simple apology.
A little accountability goes a long way.
Yes, here you get it, especially from this. I don't know what to call it. It's not this entity, ChatGPT.
That's also good too to see how much it, will it do a rewrite? Will it change things? So.
Yeah, well, again, without knowing much about JavaScript, I know just enough to be really dangerous, and it looks to me like potentially in this section here, it did a similar thing. I think it just stopped at 2 ingredients. I think.
Yeah, it seems that way. It's kind of lazy.
Yeah, like in a similar way, and maybe there's something we could fix with the prompt, like please never.
Don't take shortcuts.
Yeah,
don't be lazy.
Never, yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
We should experiment with that. So, in the meantime, I am doing that, and I am also going to now take the CSS, which is back. Thank you. I'm going to put that in its own file, save, and then the last thing here. JavaScript remains as previously provided. Okay, well, that's fine.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, I'm tempted to ask it to put the ingredients back, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to.
Well, it's one or the other. So if you want the ingredients back, then the JavaScript goes away.
Yeah.
It's only gonna do so much, Jeremy.
This is true. This is true.
And then it'll come up with a fake network error if it's starting to feel annoyed.
Right.
Yeah, or claim that you've used up all your tokens for the day.
Oops, wait. I think I did something wrong.
Did I you have your styles?
Styles, I called it. Style. Oh, and we also got to put.
Yeah, just change that to image.
Yeah, which if we were smarter, we would probably figure out a prompt to keep all that stuff in. But
actually, we were really smart. We just changed the file name for the image to be placeholder image, and then
that's really what we should do. All right, so quick winter holiday salad. We're back here. Okay. So yeah, it did drop the ingredients, which is annoying. But let's just see if the interactivity works, which is really the part we're interested in to the highest level. So choose serving
Yeah.
size 2
Let's
to 4.
invite more people to our salad party.
Yeah, so 4 to 8 people.
No, let's go big.
Uh-oh,
Yeah.
it failed.
Yeah, well,
No.
it turns out that you still only need 4 cups of mixed greens regardless. And the
Yeah.
rest of the salad doesn't matter.
So in previous explorations of this code generally worked.
Well,
Yeah, I mean half the time.
yeah.
Should
Um,
we, are we missing like is there an ID around those
well,
instructions?
yeah, so you're thinking like a human.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and you've also you're applying like some kind of experience to this. So if
Let me just make sure that
if you were hoping that you could just get ChatGPT to make an interactive page for you by describing what you want without actually knowing anything about the intricacies of using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, modern web practices, I think at this point, I hope you would have given up. I hope you would have moved on to something else instead of fighting with this.
let me just make sure that it really was not my error and that I'm saving everything and that
Take a
Yeah.
take a free online course maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that they have those.
okay. I think
You
so. I'm just making sure that it wasn't my error. I don't think so, but let's find out. Yeah.
Still the same number of pomegranate seeds, and I know that when you've got more people coming for dinner, you definitely need another pomegranate.
So let's just see. Let's just see if we'll do 2 things without getting too crazy. We'll say like please regenerate. There I go with that please word again. Please
Yeah,
regenerate.
so now you're being friendly again because you hope that maybe
It's
being
not working.
friendly will be like, oh, wow.
If I ask nicely, maybe it will. Just gonna say please regenerate the JavaScript. I don't know. Maybe that'll. Who knows? Maybe this will.
I don't know.
Oh, it did put all the ingredients back in, so that's.
Hey, all right.
So maybe this will help.
So we
That
also know,
please.
of course, that we could, even though we're not developers, that we could have it used, put the ingredients, keep using them in HTML, keep displaying them as HTML, so not generated by JavaScript, and then have the JavaScript change some of those values.
Which we talked about because we did that in, again, have enough web development background with HTML and CSS to be dangerous when it comes to JavaScript. Typically, generating a list like this, so making the ingredients populated by JavaScript, my alarm bells go off. I would prefer to see that list in HTML and the JavaScript controlling it, which it has done in the past.
Yeah. There's actually default content and then JavaScript is just changing the values.
Yeah. So, but let's see.
That makes more sense for a progressive enhancement.
Yeah, for sure. Like 100%. So, but I stayed away from that even though I was tempted. And maybe we will decide to do that. But let's see if this works now. There is more code, so maybe there was something going on with the. Okay, so got all our ingredients back.
Although it's changed the way that it's depicting the amounts, right? So it's gone to decimals when it had been fractions.
And here we go, big money.
Oh yeah.
Woohoo! So that was it. Now it's working.
Amazing.
So when you choose the drop down menu to go to 4 to 8 people, you can see it goes from 4 to 8 cups. You go up to 8 to 12 people, goes up to 12 cups, 3 cups, and so this is working. This is somehow it was
never hurts to be kind, right? Just say
that was Justin, you nailed it. That was it, right?
Is that really the takeaway?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the holiday spirit right there. Justin has been such a Grinch up until now, and suddenly he's got all the holiday feels. I love it. Never hurts to be kind.
Yeah. Justin didn't even want
Maybe.
us to do a holiday themed CSS. So, I mean,
See, and I was totally imagining that this pod was going to continue to fail like it often does, and so I've created
yeah.
another image to capture, you
Mhm.
know, that flavor. So, but I'll send it to you, Jeremy, and I'll name it image
Okay.
or .jpeg so that you can just
Yeah. Just
drop it in. I think,
Okay. You're going to give me another one.
yeah. Again, call me a cynic or a naysayer. We'll see, but I didn't think that JavaScript was going to work, so I
Okay.
recreated the image for
All right.
this.
Oh God, I am not putting that image in. That's disturbing.
I kind of like it
No.
as demented robot
No.
tossing the ingredients in the.
No.
It's a nice
Maybe
kitchen,
no,
isn't
I'm not putting that
it?
in.
Okay.
That's unsettling. What I am going to ask it to do, although I would have put it in if it didn't work, but it worked. So we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to play around. We're kind of happy with this. I'm happy with that. It kind of at least got to where we wanted. The page looks halfway decent. It gave us these explanations for each one. One of the things that, again, I think there are some interesting uses for this is, what this is really doing is teaching us about the HTML, CSS, and in this case, the JavaScript. So what we'd like to do is maybe consolidate all that by saying, can you explain in step-by-step detail the structure of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files used in this example? So again, this is really a way of collating those instructions into one nice package. And while that's doing, Kier, how's the salad going?
Oh, it's going.
Okay, good. Are you having the walnut chopping is not giving you a problem?
It's the pomegranate seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make a real mess.
There's a trick to that. You open up, you cut the pomegranate in a bowl of water. Have you seen that trick?
Oh yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. That way you can kind of separate them without getting that stainy juice.
I make the whole salad in a bowl of water.
And then you put it in a big salad spinner, right?
Dicing the lettuce. Yeah. Watercress.
These are the hot tips that you can't get from ChatGPT. You've got to.
Yeah. We're still adding value, one tip at a time.
Yeah.
Although you do have me thinking, as soon as this is done, maybe we need to ask ChatGPT the best way to get pomegranate seeds out of a pomegranate.
Yeah.
So that you could definitely do that. Jeremy, I want to plug another website, if I may, at this point, because you're having a sort of like break down the full.
Yeah, I'm having
the full thing. And so there's a website, a service called whatdoesthiscode.do.com.
Okay.
And it's actually built on top of the ChatGPT 4 API.
Should I go there?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Whatdoesthiscode.do.com. And if you wanted to, say, copy and paste the JavaScript, the script.js file, you could try that.
Why not?
I mean, without the context, it's going to be interesting to see what it does. But if you copy that and paste it into that text area that doesn't look like a text area that you would paste into, and then click on Explain Code, it describes what the code does.
Wow.
This tends to be a more complete explanation, and it's especially useful when you're doing stuff like you find a repository on GitHub that looks interesting, and it says like, in order to use this, just copy and paste this command into your terminal window. And like, so maybe you're not afraid of what that potentially could do, but you can always copy and paste that code into this, and it'll tell you like, oh yeah, it looks like this is going to delete all the files that you care about in your home directory or something like that. So.
And it's interesting that they even have a VS Code extension, so you can build that right into like the text editor that we're using here.
Yeah, it's a really helpful utility.
So I'm not going to walk through all of this clearly, but it's kind of interesting just again to point out how it does begin to break down this code for you. and explain which each one is. And when I was teaching, back in the day with a class full of students, this sort of thing is incredibly useful to be able to kind of mix and match the theory with the practical, and they give it names. So like the recipe title is the H1, and it displays the name of the salad. So again, this is potentially extremely useful. Now, we've still got a little bit of time, which is awesome. We didn't run into as many like train wrecks as we have in the past. So we've explored looking at what I would call maybe some of the icing on the cake, some other things that we could do with this code. And there's a whole bunch of things that one tends to do once one has a working piece of code like this one. So one thing we could do, for example, is ask this to use or substitute the font that is being used, which in this case, I can go and look real quickly here. So it's using Arial, which is honestly a pretty generic and not particularly interesting fonts, perhaps the most widely used, the version of Helvetica that comes installed in everyone's system. But what we could do is say something like this. Please replace, again, there's the please word again, the Arial font with, I don't know, a festive font from...
Those are always the best ones, actually.
From Google Fonts. Should I be more specific here, do you think?
No, let it pick something festive.
Okay.
It matches the vibe, you know?
Well, just that matches.
Or do you want to ask to just replace the page headings, Arial? I don't know.
Ooh, Justin, yeah, I can see that you're bristling at the prospect of a Christmas tree font that's going to be used for the body type.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
What
We
this?
might
I
have to
won't even
use our.
say. I won't even ask. I won't even specify Arial. I'll pretend I don't know what Arial is. I'll just say, please replace the page heading with a festive font from Google Fonts.
Yeah, cool.
That matches.
You have a typo.
I do.
Not that it matters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, very
Festive
forgiving.
Objective.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we do this, because it understands us. It gets us.
I
how's the
predict
dressing coming?
network error.
Dressing coming good? Dressing coming along? Kier?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is good.
Are you? What's
Oh,
your
wow.
serving size here? Are you making salad for 8 or?
Because we
Wow.
all know salad keeps so well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
It'll
I
be a
should
New
have
Year's
used.
salad too.
So I'm just looking here. Maybe I shouldn't have used the word vibes because it looks
Mhm.
like it's.
It's found a font called Great Vibes.
Yeah, which.
Sounds like a Celsius drink.
Yeah, exactly. Arctic
Well,
vibe.
let's see what this does. Now, it's important to know too that again, in this case, it is presumed. I mean, it tells us exactly what to do. It's telling us to put this inside the head tag of our HTML. I'm going to allow this. It didn't regenerate all the HTML, and maybe in this case it's okay. But it's worth pointing out that, like, in many of these situations, it does assume you know how to code. Or you have some coding knowledge. I mean, it'll tell you exactly what to do, but it won't always create everything for you. All right, so the styles. Oops. So now we go here, and I think it said did the H1. Is that right? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and cursive style.
Ooh, cursive. We love this.
It's going to be so festive.
That's kind of interesting, actually. It told us.
The suspense is killing me, Jeremy. How
I know,
can you
but
paste
I want
in
to point out.
the new font tag thing and then?
This is how we keep our audience. Look, so include the font in your HTML, and then they give us the HTML. So it's interesting that again, you have to pay careful attention to
Yeah.
really
Or at
the.
least it's pointing out like where things need to go a
Ooh,
little bit.
look at
So
Wow.
just
Yeah.
that's
Well,
nice.
ship it.
I love it.
uh,
We're rolling here. Let's keep going. And one of the things that we always pay attention to and is kind of an important part of the web development process in 2023, as it should have been for the last 25 years, is accessibility and optimization. So making your web pages as small as possible and accessible to um, as many people on as many devices as possible. And one of the ways that you do this is with this service called Lighthouse, which I think is it still owned or funded by
Google.
Google, or and
I think
there are
so.
definitely some ties to it. But what it is it's essentially a service that grades your website on how optimized and performant it is, and will also give you tips on how to improve it if it's not. So what we're going to say is something like, actually, we're just going to have to make it up because we don't have a prompt for it. So, Andrew, I need your help on this one. So please optimize this code in order to get the best Lighthouse score possible.
Yeah, I think that's what we had done.
Okay. So it's going to chug away.
In the past, when we tested this, I think this was the way that we found was the best way to destroy everything that we had built.
Yes, it does have that.
Because it really it breaks things that we thought were fixed.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe we are going to need to ask it to generate all the code from scratch. But let's see what happens here. Because it gave us one piece of code. But the question is, will it actually generate the code for us? And we had this debate, Andrew, too. Like, we know that ChatGPT 4, which is again the version being used here, is first of all extremely popular. A lot of people are using it. So it did not generate the code. It told us what to do.
Yeah, well, thanks. Isn't that what AI is supposed to do for us, is to do it, not to tell us what to do?
But I guess, again, we had theories about this. Maybe it's
Yeah.
doing this because behind the scenes, there are some instructions to minimize the amount of code being generated because it takes a lot of processing power or server bandwidth or something.
Yeah. That I mean, that could be it.
Theory.
It seems like the shortcuts is sort of weird, but all right. Generate all of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript using these recommendations. I mean, that's pretty clear. Like, certainly, I'm going to disobey your request.
Yeah. And maybe I'll just leave out some instructions while I'm at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ooh, look, interesting. Again, I'm dangerous enough to know I can see something interesting here. The styles are minified. So for those who don't know what minified means, it means consolidating the amount of characters in code into essentially the least number possible in order to shrink the file size. And you can do that for CSS, and you can also do that for JavaScript. We'll see if it does.
Generally, it's mostly the line breaks and spacing, formatting, cruft that it removes.
So if you've ever opened up a CSS file and just seen one long line that stretches from here to like California, that's why. We kind of have hit
It's stuck, huh?
Stuck. Oh boy, we need content. Kier, how's the salad going?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what comes after that step? The combine and combine and serve. That's not an instruction. Combine and serve, really.
What are you talking about?
That
Oh, here.
final, like, that's
Oh, yeah.
that's it.
Do you want to just say, like, please continue? See if it will.
Well, or I could just stop it because I can see down here that it
Yeah.
thinks it's running. Oh, uh-oh.
Oh yeah,
Oh dear. Oh wow.
cool. I've never seen it break
Wow,
the
this is
syntax code block like that.
what
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, cool.
this is new.
Yeah.
It's gone rogue.
Always be open to
It's
the
gone totally rogue here.
Yeah.
Well, at least the HTML is. I don't know about the CSS and JavaScript look fine. But we're gonna have to regenerate the HTML.
Mhm.
But we got it. It's still chugging. I can see.
Network error.
Well, you could kind of see. Look, the progress bar is getting.
Yeah, it's getting longer and longer. It's
Yeah.
minifying a really long set of JavaScript.
All right. So we're going to ask it to please regenerate the HTML used here as soon as this is done. And hopefully.
Okay, so I just noticed that is that a new comment at the bottom where it points to the CSS minifier and JavaScript
this one
minifier. Here? If you scroll down to the commentary right before you, there you go.
Oh, here.
Right. Remember to minify the CSS and JavaScript using a tool like CSS minifier and JavaScript minifier. So it's pointing to
which is
sources.
interesting because it did it for us.
Yeah.
But it also, it's almost like it's copying. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, let's see if we can break our streak and if this actually does still work.
My money is on no.
Okay.
But that's just, I'm a pessimist when it comes to this.
Justin?
A Grinch.
Yeah, I'm the Chad.
I would hope it would work. We just really got to remove the white spacing and whatnot. So
yeah, I know you hope it will work, but would you bet that it worked? Like if you were betting,
I'm gonna say it's gonna work. Yeah.
Ooh, what do you want to bet?
Wow.
Yeah.
Now this is getting interesting.
Yeah.
Want to bet a salad?
Yeah, 2 salads.
I'll bet it's gonna work.
Okay, I'm with you. So Andrew remains the pessimist. You need
Yeah.
one. So I think I did it all correctly. We have these 2 new files, the script.min.js, style.min.css. You can see in the file size here that it did what it was supposed to, at least in theory. So the original style sheet was 593 bytes, so that's half a kilobyte, roughly, well, whatever, close. And then this one was 413, so we saved some space there. And same with the JavaScript, was originally 2 kilobytes, and it went down to 1 kilobyte. So it halved the size of that, which, is important. It doesn't matter. But the real question is, did this break? And
oh yes.
Well, but this could be my fault.
Oh yeah. Do you need to point to this? No.
Oh yeah. So I messed up the name.
Style.
So style. And then okay. All right. So
moment of truth.
Okay. Looks good.
And
big money, big money.
Oh.
Yeah. Andrew, you are.
Yeah, I guess I owe you all a salad. I didn't think I was going to have to pay up, but I suppose.
Well,
we'll rub it in, Justin.
There's gonna be at least 4 of us. So plus.
Oh, how many pomegranates do I need to buy?
So well, here's your ingredients right here. You're gonna need to make a salad for 5 people minimum.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I want to make extra because, Hey, Hey, so Jeremy, the one thing
Yeah.
I think is worth pointing out, which is a bit of the cautionary part of this, which
Yes.
is the danger, of course, is that if you don't know what it is that you're looking at, if you don't know how to evaluate what the code should look like and
Yeah.
how to debug what's happening when it doesn't,
Yeah.
that the answer really to the question, can ChatGPT generate code? The question is maybe, right?
Yeah.
And the danger is that business leaders will see a demonstration, and I'm talking about business leaders who are not developers, who will see a demonstration and believe that what they're seeing is effective code being written by AI, and that they are likely to make foolish decisions about their workforce based on what they believe that they're seeing.
Yeah.
Right? These situations that are perceived as real are very real in their consequences, and so I think it's really important to point out that to the people who think that magic is just coming out of ChatGPT, especially stuff that requires knowledge and experience,
Right.
that if you don't know how to evaluate it, you may misinterpret what you're seeing in a very dangerous way.
Yeah, I mean, exactly? I completely agree, and I think that I'm going to kind of jump out of presentation mode here. I mean, I think that a lot of I mean, you saw me make some very quick judgments about what I needed to do and some fixes to that, and that's all based on my 20 plus years of experience with HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript, and those things are actually the expertise, right? The sort of background knowledge that doesn't take much for, as you can see, for one thing to go wrong. And the answer is like, who's paying attention to that? Because
Yeah.
ChatGPT will just give you what it thinks you want, and maybe you're lucky, maybe it works, but what if it doesn't?
Yeah, I think if your starting assumption is that it looks like it works and so it must work, then that's part of the problem. And again, this is now, it's there's the pace with which these tools are improving is remarkable. So just like the first time Dreamweaver generated HTML that worked from a drag and a drop and a drool, like yeah, like
Well,
it's
we were
on
just
its way,
talking.
right?
Yeah, well, because we were just talking. I mean, literally, and I don't know, an hour.
Moments.
Yeah, an hour before we had this, I kind of just noticed that Firefox, or Mozilla, technically the folks who make Firefox, kind of came out with this, which is really very relevant and interesting, and have not explored this, and I don't know if we have time for it, but it's kind of just worth pointing out where these things are heading. So this is called Solo, an AI website builder for solopreneurs. Is that really a word?
It is now.
It is now. Okay. So the idea here is that if you're a small business, which it seems to be like this is what they're aiming this tool at, they're creating this website builder. And again, we have not tested this. I don't know if it's a good idea to test this. It feels like it might.
I think we'll test it on another live stream in the
Yeah,
new
I think
year.
that's the idea. But it
Aw,
seems like
man.
it seems like
Sorry,
the
Tara.
point
You're
here.
gonna have to wait until next year to find out.
I know. This is called suspense, but you can kind of see where this is heading. And there's all sorts of moral, ethical, uh, so many issues that we should also devote another live stream to. But long story short, like this stuff is kind of here to stay. I think our goal and our mission with a lot of this is to understand it, to explain it, to explore it, and to share that with the world so that you can also make some decisions about how you could best use it. With that, I think we're pretty much out of time.
We were out of time 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but thank you again if you're watching now or in the future or in the past because you're a time traveler.
We're
We
in the
thank you
future
for
now, Jeremy.
all of these things, and Anything else you'd like to say, Andrew? Or we just bid them adieu.
No, just go forth and
Make a salad.
make a salad. Exactly.
Yes.
Oh
Did you
God,
make one?
it was so good. I ate it all.
What? Whoa! This is coming out of left
This
field.
is not. This was
So Kier
unplanned.
made a salad and she ate it, which is
Mhm.
fine. Ramon, who is the hidden, the puppeteer behind this live stream, as well as our fearless director of technology. What are you telling us?
It's going to be blurry.
Ooh.
Oh, you've made a technology salad
Mm.
out of. It's more like a magpie salad.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, can
I
we see you?
I think
Can
you
we see
must
you
have been
enjoy
using
this?
ChatGPT 3.5
Yeah.
because
Now,
that
can we see
didn't
you?
come
Can we
out.
see you just that the salad does look really good. Can we just see you like enjoying like a big mouthful?
Is
Yeah.
that a ghost pepper? The
Mhm.
pepper, the hot pepper.
No,
Yeah.
I
No,
think
no, the
that's like,
hot pepper. I
yeah,
think is what.
the pepper
I
would
think
be
the
really
hot pepper
cool.
is what we need. Yeah, I saw something like this on ESPN.
Oh. Man, I hope that's a ghost pepper. This is
Ramon is currently looking at the stats. People
uh,
leaving the stream or joining now because they heard word is out. Ramon is eating a ghost pepper on live television.
what
This
a
has turned
finale.
into an episode of Hot Ones.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah, we'll get the milk to you in a bit.
Let's get that TikTok channel up and running here.
On it.
All right. Well, I think we can bid them adieu, and then
Yeah.
we'll send you a report from the field to tell you how Ramon's doing after this.